It's a strange universe out there. And believe it or not, by the power of God, we got it covered.
The time machine is inevitable. It's got to happen.
It's a real life Back to the Future. Inside this office, Paul Laffoley is preparing for the ultimate ride.
The time machine is a device that somebody can construct. I found that I've got the answer.
We travel through his amazing world and beyond. The Time Machine. Little Richard is a rock and roll legend, but he says he owes it all to a little help from his friends.
It's only by the grace of God that you get out of the bed in the morning. Because you don't get up by yourself. The angels wakes you up.
Little Richard and the Angels. Kurt Schoberg realized the world was missing something. Something simple we can take into space.
The green disc represents God's green earth. And it says 5 races, 1 people.
The Earth flag. Also, why don't you recognize Bull from Night Court?
I went 9 years with no hair for some reason.
This is Strange Universe, the phenomenal daily news magazine. Now, Emmett Miller.
The last time somebody made headlines with a time machine, it was the last sequel to the movie, Back to the Future. But far from Hollywood, there's a man who's been working on a real-life time machine. And get this, strange as it sounds, some experts say this thing could actually work. Allison Camerata found the inventor and his plans to travel through time.
Most of what he says is nearly impossible for most of us to begin to understand.
In time itself, there's a natural singularity. A causes B in set of circumstances C, with an abyss of transition between the cause and the effect.
And yet, if you listen carefully, you might agree that he's close to making possible one of the most fantastic dreams of science fiction: the creation of an actual time machine.
The time machine is inevitable. I mean, it's got to happen.
Paul Laffoley works in a small office hidden away on a nondescript street in the heart of Boston, Massachusetts. It seems an unlikely headquarters for a Harvard-trained architect who helped design the World Trade Center. It's a very crowded office he calls the Boston Visionary Cell. A virtual attic stuffed with artwork, philosophical tracts, and futuristic blueprints. But of all the designs and theories Paul Laffoley has put to paper, one has become an obsession. It's an obsession he's been working on for the past 30 years, one that has some people calling him a kook, but that has a few qualified others wondering if he might be onto something.
He is a brilliant, brilliant thinker, and deeply researched into the underpinnings of the work.
Paul Laffoley comes from a long line of dreamers and rebels. His grandfather was a well-known religious freethinker. His father was a musician turned banker who, coincidentally, did not believe in gravity. But young Paul had more influences in his young life. The first was H.G. Wells' famous story, The Time Machine, the tale of a man who visits the future and returns to tell about it.
When I started to read it, it was like in the 50s as a kid, that was my first reaction. I said, why hasn't anyone built one?
The other influence was related to his mental health. As a teenager, he suffered severe catatonic spells. The treatment included a year of shock therapy. And as a result, Paul Laffoley began having strange dreams. Dreams where he visited the future and was shown remarkable technologies. He calls it lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming means that you're awake while you're dreaming, and so that you will have a sense of the reality of the information that you're receiving, just as we are looking at each other now.
Paul Laffoley wrote down what he saw in his dreams. And after years of reading New Age writings on the paranormal, he began to see connections between lucid dreaming and time travel. He began to believe that phenomena like near-death experiences, premonitions, rebirthing, and past lives were just other forms of his own lucid dreams. In every case, people had traveled in their minds and returned to tell about it.
When you get into dreaming, that for most people, that's like 50% of embodiment. Lucid dreaming moves you up to about 75%. And so to move beyond that is what time travel is all about.
It was then that Paul Laffoley put his own twist on H.G. Wells' theory. Time travel would not depend on a machine that could take you physically to another time, but a machine that transports your mind. This is part of Paul Laffoley's time machine, something he calls the Levogyre. This is the rest of it, in blueprint form, showing the core.
It's the core of the way to deal with how consciousness and mass comes together.
Yes, you do sit inside this time machine, but the only thing that will travel is your mind. In theory, the Levogyre would use laser-powered gyroscopes and electromagnets to create enough force to spin its center at the speed of light. Paul Laffoley says the Levogyre would add energy to the mind, causing it to move forward in time. When the energy is taken away, the mind could travel back in time. The time traveler can pinpoint a destination in time by braking or accelerating to move ahead or to go back. Of course, it isn't all as simple as it sounds.
I have fragmented the precessional axis and then redistributed in space in the form of two interlocking three-dimensional equiangular spirals.
We have to admit, at some point, just about everyone gets lost on the way to understanding Paul Laffoley's time machine. Well, just about everyone. Some, like Laffoley's longtime friend, electrical engineer Norman Dolph, say that he has taken an important step toward success.
It's not a sham, it's not a fake, it's not a con, it's not a device, it's not a shtick, it's none of that. Sooner or later, people are going to catch up and they're going to say, damn, the guy had it all along.
Paul says his dream could become a reality within 20 years. Then again, as they say, only time will tell.
Paul Laffoley isn't the only one. Just recently, the genius Stephen Hawking announced that he's convinced time travel will be a reality very soon. Many more stops to make in this strange universe. We meet up with Little Richard, and he tells us about his encounters with angels.
And to be alive and see that, that's a very strange feeling.
It's shown up in the movie Contact. Now, it could be on its way to space for real. We've got the story behind the Earth flag. And Bull from Night Court has a scary encounter with his hair.
Tomorrow on Strange Universe. Said to be written by celestial beings. Said to hold the key. The Alien Bible. Also, the Lounge Lizards. Tomorrow.